now offer brief questions and comments on the three readings from today. First, it is important that in reference to Mr. Brandeis's assessment regarding harvesting machines, one has to understand you must have a yield in order to be able to harvest. If you have nothing to harvest, then whether you have a machine or not is not the point, which then brings up the basis for the original contemplation of money as proposed by Benjamin Franklin concerning land, what it means to have land, what it means to acquire land, what the value of land is while it's being actively used versus the value that the land can provide in terms of creating currency. And then we get to the central question at hand in today's reading, which is the understanding of a medium of exchange. This is important because, as he discusses, the medium of exchange allows for one to provide the fiat as a means by which to obtain what they want without a consideration of the intent behind providing the currency. And two people arrive, they discuss what they have to offer. It could be exchanged. When one wants what the other has, the other wants what the other has, they exchange directly. When one wants something, but they don't have what the other one wants in the exchange, the allowing of the medium of exchange allows for that person to acquire what they want to get without consideration of what it has available. What is backing that currency when the currency is provided to get what he wants? I contend that there's a big significant matter to contemplate when we consider this factor in relation to currency. The intent behind the procurement is going to say something also about that which one seeks to procure, to provide, or to create, to have something to offer that is allowed to be put into an abstract economy, which is what happens when one allows for that fiat medium of exchange, or for the actual labor or contributions or creation that one puts into something that they wish to present to other people for them to enjoy. That alienation to be reduced to some fiat medium of exchange that is supposed to be able to be anything to anybody at any time. Well, there is a considerable amount of value that ends up getting detracted in the actual process of exchange. Who keeps track of this? And this is something that, as time has gone on, has become more and more of a factor. There are those who are not being read at this time that have their own considerations of economy, including money, and including the concepts of the value of money relative to the contributions individual labor made to the creation of that money, as well as the products of the system of monetization. We're not speaking about those matters right now, but it is important to understand a nuance that I honestly did not notice before when recounting the response that Governor Keith had to Speaker Lloyd. As I said yesterday, one of the things that was notable to me is that in the original memorandum, the governor is actually very specific in a manner in terms of the principle that he finds to be a concern that requires him to obstruct the passage of the bill at that time. The Speaker of the House said, well, let us have a meeting. Let us have a hearing, a meeting, because we don't know what you're speaking of. Then there is this formal memorandum dated for what would be 35 days, if I'm correct. 34 days. 34 days later, there's a memorandum by the governor responding, discussing very specific details about what it is that he had a problem with. And he feels he's going to go ahead and let the bill go. But he cannot let the bill go without making sure to attach a... What would that be called? If we're talking about legislative process, that's one thing. But if we're talking about the actual issuance of currency, including paper money, based upon the good faith and credit of the entity that is issuing that money, well, what did the governor actually do here? It would seem to me that the governor of Pennsylvania was not content to allow for that kind of alienation or abstraction of the role he played in authorizing the issuance of the paper money. And one could ask what actually commenced in that meeting and was discussed. But again, we still have another reading to get through before we are at a resolution of this specific event.